Welcome to today's webinar. It's on trade-only vision, and we're going to be looking at building quotes and presentations. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my screen. I'm going to log in to the vision system. Okay, and what you see in front of you, and I know there might be a little bit of a delay with the GoToMeeting, so I'm going to try to go a little bit slower than normal because we have had that feedback that some of the audio is not matching up with the visual. So what you see in front of you is the vision dashboard. And this is an area that just gives you a snapshot of all your what's going on within your vision system. So you can see all your projects. You can also go into your product research and see some of the products and do some product research. You can see your monthly sales and your reports. So you can see that from the screen. Again, it's just a overall bird's eye view of what's going on within your vision system. Down at the bottom, you have some additional company performance and quick stats, so you can easily see what you're doing last month, this month, and what's projected for the year within your vision system. And then your quick stats looks a little bit more at conversions. So how many quotes do you have outstanding or pending, and how many have converted to a sales order, and how many sales orders are pending or waiting invoicing. So you look a little bit more at your conversion when you look at your quick stats area. The last area here, you have your task, and these are your tasks for the day or for the week, and it's pulling from the calendar within the vision system. So you do have a calendar, and it's up here at the top right. You can click on calendar. You can put any type of activity on that calendar and tie it to a customer, so you can see all the activities for a customer. And we do have a webinar on CRM that's coming up. So it talks about entering your customers and also keeping track of all activities as well as the ordering process for those customers. So you can see all the projects for a customer, presentations and quotes, sales orders, invoices, and so forth. So you have access to that within the vision system as well. Today's webinar, like I mentioned, is on presentations and quotes. So we're going to spend some time up here at the navigation toolbar across the top, and we're going to be within the projects drop down, which gives you kind of a look at the order cycle. If I click on projects, you can see a project overview of all the projects that are in the system. The way that our vision system works is anytime that you do anything for a customer, you want to open a project first. So even though we're going to be building a presentation and converting that to a quote for a customer, we are going to create a project. And the project is that virtual file folder in which those documents reside. So you create your project, and within that project you have your presentations, your quotes, your sales orders, any POs that have been raised, invoices, and documents. So if I come into just a project that's already on the system, and I can go into projects overview to get again into that area where I can see all my projects. If I pull up this project number, click on the blue link, you can see that I have my project open and all the different things and documents that reside within a project. So we just had a webinar on projects and explaining the functionality. That has been recorded, and we will be posting that as well. So today we're going to create a project, and we're really going to spend some time in the creation of the presentation and the quote. I do want to mention, because it's a webinar, all participants are muted. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type those into the questions or the chat area on your GoToWebinar control panel, and I will be answering those questions throughout the webinar. So we've got our projects. If I come into new projects, that's going to be the first step. We need to create a virtual file folder for the event that's happening, and I'll give it a subject. Okay, so we've got Grandma's 100th birthday is going to be the subject. We have a new project as the status. The target date is the enhanced date that you need the products by. So we'll go ahead and we'll select a target date for this project. The type customer, but you can also create a project for a lead or a prospect. And then what we can do is if the customer is already in the database, we can go ahead and type in the first few letters. So this is Tracy Payton Corporation, or I could add a customer on the fly. So I could click on this and add a customer into my customer database within the system. So we'll cancel out that. We'll just work with Tracy Payton Corp. And I have multiple contacts. So if I use this drop down, I could select a contact. I might have someone from billing. I might have someone from sales or event planning, so forth. So right now I just have a contact in here as Patrick Payton. But if I needed to add another one, I could again use this plus button and that would add that contact to that customer, keep it within the customer record as well as create the project. I've got the sales rep as myself because I'm signed into my Vision system, so it will default to me. However, if I feel that I need to assign this to another staff member, I can assign this project for them to take over and create the quote or presentation within their system. So once I've created the initial information for my project, I'm going to come over here to the next button and I'm going to move to creating a presentation. I lump together presentations and quotes, however they are different. In the system, the Vision system, a presentation allows you to quote or present multiple products, quantities, and price points, where a quote is a little bit more precise. So when you move to a quote, you're actually quoting a specific quantity, a specific color, a specific size. So presentations is usually when you're kind of presenting some ideas to your customer or prospect, giving them some options, and when they come back with the various decisions on those options, you can convert that to a quote. So what we'll do here is I'm in the Build a Presentation screen, and you can see my project information is up here at the top left. My Build a Presentation information is over here at the top right. So I have a General tab, and you can see the sales rep is pulling through. It's defaulted as myself. Again, if I want to reassign that, I can using the drop down. Marketing, you can put marketing tags at this point onto the presentation. I'm going to leave that blank. You have a validity here area, so you could key in how long or how when this presentation is valid for. So if it's 30 days that it's valid, you can put that, key that in there. The sales tax is going to populate based upon the address of the customer. So it's going to look at the state and zip code, and it will pull from the tax tables. Shipping information, if I come over to the shipping tab, this is going to have my contact as Patrick Payton, and it's going to default to the address that's associated with him. If I have a different shipping address, I can click on shipping address and add an additional entry here. Not only will it add it to my presentation, it will also add it to the customer record. So I'll have that address saved. I'm going to cancel out of that. So we're going to leave it as the company's address here with Patrick Payton. When working with a presentation, you probably have already done your product research. So you've already researched some of the items that you want to present to the customer. So in our case, we have Grandma's 100th birthday. I have put some of the products that I have already researched on my clipboard for me to use during this presentation. So I can come up here to my clipboard and I can select some of those items. So if I wanted to use this performance tea, I could grab that. And then I could add it to my current presentation. You can see current presentation is highlighted down here, and I can click go, and that's going to go ahead and put that polo onto the presentation. There's other ways in which you can get a product onto the presentation. I can come back and find products. So this will open the research section, the product research section without leaving the presentation. So if I want to do some candy for this event, I could go ahead and search candy, and we might like this apothecary jar full of treats. So I can go ahead and click on presentation, and that'll pull that through onto the presentation as well. Okay. Now you can see I've got a couple different logos here on these products. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to come up here to my logos and grab my company logo so that I can present that to the customer, or grab the customer's logo. So we'll go ahead and search for, I think it's Peyton. I put that in there, maybe not. You know what, I'll just go ahead and clear it and scroll down here. I thought I had a P in here, so bear with me for just a second. There we go, so we'll grab the P. So you can see that it's put that onto the products, so you can see what a virtual sample with that logo looks like on the product. The last way in which you can add a product to a presentation is you can come up here to add product. And what this does is it adds a unique product. It's something that's not already in our product database. So if I want to add a product, I can come in here and add a product, and I can put the vendor's code. So this is a quick product to add for me to use for my presentation. I'm going to add in the details. I can select a vendor, which I will need to do. So if this is a product where the vendor is already in our system, great. If not, you're going to need to add the vendor first prior to adding this product to your presentation. So I can just go ahead and select a vendor from one of our, we'll grab Adidas and select that. And I can also put a description here. Why don't we say it's a soccer ball? And we could add an image if we had an image of that soccer ball. Right now I don't, so we'll just go ahead and save. And we can save this soccer ball onto here, this presentation. So you can see where it's been added here. We do not have an image, but again, you could have uploaded an image. And not only has this soccer ball been added to the presentation, it's also been added to the database of products for you to use again in another presentation or quote. So we're going to deal basically with these first two products and make some edits to them so we can present different quantities and sizes and so forth. So the first thing I want to do is I want to adjust or edit this polo. So if I come in here and I edit this product, it's going to prompt me to do two steps. The first step is editing the basic general information of that product. So if I wanted to edit the description, I could do that. I could also edit the product name if I wanted to. So in this case, I'm going to edit the product name because for some reason they've got the supplier code within the product name, and I don't want to communicate that to my customer. I want the customer only to see the unique product code here, which is the Vision product code, so they can't shop that around. So our vendor is Bodekin Rhodes, and what we're going to do is we're going to present a few different colors in our presentation. We're going to present our black, a navy, and a red. I also want to do a white. So we've got multiple colors that we're going to present, and we're also going to present all sizes at this point. So we'll go ahead and select all. So the next step is more of the pricing information that we want to adjust in quantities. So we can come over here and we could just click on step 2, or we could click on next. Now I'm not over here. I have a ability to add an imprint method. So if I want to add in some decoration for this polo, maybe some embroidery, if the supplier is providing that, it will appear in this drop down. So no imprint method's been defined, but I could use this right here and select embroidered. And I could say, okay, I want it on the front chest. I also can establish what my imprint color. See, it's also populated my preferred decorator, which is embroidery specialist, which I've already keyed in here. So you can see that preferred decorator being pulled in. With the Vision system, you can enter your decorators and their cost. So in this case, it's a polo, it's a blank good, it's not being decorated by Bowdick & Rhodes, but I do have my preferred decorators pricing in here. So when I select embroidered, it will pull through the pricing associated with that decorator. I can also put my imprint colors. At this point, it's just red, and my imprint details will be front, left, chest. Now moving on to the pricing grid. There's a couple different things I want to mention here. We have a sale price. So if sales price is selected, what you're going to see here is all the different information pertaining to the sale price. This is the information that will be communicated to the customer. But you also have the base cost tab, which is your pricing. So you have your base cost. Okay. And automatically, based on the product information that we get from Bowdick & Rhodes, we see that we have a price point at a quantity of 1. Then it looks like we have a break here at a quantity of 12 and a quantity of 36. So if we wanted to quote maybe 100 pieces, we could go ahead and click on this 36 and change it to 100. Okay, the pricing is going to change because it looks like the in quantity pricing was that 36. So if we wanted to quote 100 pieces at $22.50, we could do that. And we could quote the 12. We might want to change that to 25. So we're just showing them different price breaks, even though we haven't hit the ones from Bowdick & Rhodes. So it's going to stay at the $25 at the previous 12. And then the $100 is going to be at the quantity of the 36. So you can come in here and you can change pricing as well. So if I wanted to, I could change the sell price. Maybe I want to make that a little bit better for them, maybe $21 because they are ordering 100. So I can do that. It will also adjust my total sell price. It has my embroidery setup or digitization. So you have that here, that cost. And you also have the run charge of what it's going to cost the customer. So it's giving you your total. It's also providing you an idea of overall profit. Now, if you want to add in additional information, if you didn't select embroidery, you do have these tabs. So you can go ahead and put in your embroiderer information into the system, and you could select a different embroiderer here, and it would populate that pricing. Same thing with screen. You can put in your screen printers that you might outsource with, and you can put their costs in. You also have the ability to add additional information. Maybe there is a miscellaneous charge for artwork. If we want to add that into the pricing grid, we can go ahead and just click on that plus, and we can key in the amount for that artwork charge. Maybe it's $15. So we can key that in there. Now I am adjusting the sale price, but if I needed to adjust the base cost, I can do that as well. So maybe I get these at $10. So we'll adjust that. So you have quite a bit of information that you can adjust and present different options to your customer. Once you've gone in here and you've made your changes, you can click Save. and that's going to save those changes. So on your presentation, you now see the different quantities that we have there and the different costs for those different quantities. Okay. We could do the same thing with the candy. We could come in here and edit the product. We could edit the description if we wanted to, the name and so forth, but I'm just going to move straight into step 2. And in this case, the supplier that's supplying the candy is also going to do the imprinting. So you can see that it's defaulted to screen. That's the imprint method that's provided by that supplier. So if we had a 3-color screen, it will go ahead and calculate that information, automatically update the pricing table. So you've got that, and we could do the imprint colors. Maybe it's red, black, and gray. And we want to do center, front of the jar. And again, you can come in here and you can adjust your quantities and pricing. So maybe we want to just only quote them the 50 or 150. So we'll delete some of those, uncheck those. And again, you can come in and make your changes. And we'll go ahead and save. So we've updated that part of the presentation. The soccer ball we'll just leave alone. We'll just leave the product at 25 and the method, we won't put a decoration method on that. So what we've done here in just a matter of minutes is we've created a nice presentation for our customer to present some different options. So what I can do now is if I come over into design, this is kind of that print preview. We're going to look at the PDF that's being generated that we're going to send to the customer. So you can see a sample of what that presentation looks like. If I had my logo associated with my customer, it would show here. Unfortunately, I didn't put that in the customer record, but you can attach a logo to a customer, so that will show up on the documents. You can see that you have the virtual sample being displayed onto the product and some product information along with the different breakdown. So if I move here, I can move through the different pages and look at the products. And some additional costs. So see, there's an additional cost here. There's a paint mixing charge that the supplier needs to charge, so that has been added in. Okay. Now, on this PDF that you present to the customer, there's a couple options that you can do. You can include a cover page. So if I check include cover page, that's going to give you some options. So if I want to do a gray swirl, I can do that. So I can provide a cover page. So if I look at the beginning, you can see Grandma's 100th birthday. It'll have the logo here again if it's associated with the customer record, and then it has your information there at the bottom. So that's kind of nice when you're doing a presentation. You can also choose to include the address on all pages or first page only. You can include terms and conditions, and then there's other ways in which you can display the product. So if you wanted to include pricing, you can go ahead and make sure that's checked. Include additional charges. If you didn't want to include the additional charges that you see here, so if we move to the next, for some reason you don't want to do that and break out that, you could just go ahead and uncheck that and just go ahead and show them that what those charges are, what the sell price for that product is going to be. You can include product images or exclude those, and you can maybe hide some additional details if you don't want those on your proof or on your PDF. So once you get to that point, you can go ahead and select your options here and how you want to present that to the customer. And then you can simply come over here to next, and you can send and share that to the customer. So basically send an email where it attaches a PDF. It will generate. Now, if we already have this information in here for the customer, it will populate their customer email address. In this case, it's not, so we'll just put something in here. Okay, so we've got that. We've got our presentation, and then we can go ahead and send that presentation to our customer. I'm going to just cancel that out because it's not a real address that I'm working with. I'm in their test data. So then what we can do is we can save and close this presentation, or we can convert this to copy it over to a quote. So in this case, we've presented to the customer, we've sent that, maybe the customer's called us up, and now we want to copy some of the information over to a quote. So we can copy that presentation over to a quote. And you can see now within the project overview, we have a presentation up here. So it says that the presentation's been sent. And then we have a new quotation, which is that copy of that presentation. So in order to edit that quote that we just copied from the presentation, we'll open the project and then we'll go into the edit document. Okay, now the build a quote screen looks quite a bit different from the presentation screen. So it's presented more in the line item format, and there's some different functionality that's included. So what I want to walk you through is we have our project information again up here at the top left, and then again we have our quote information, just like the presentation. So we have our general tab, which are with our information there, and our shipping tab, so where we want to ship the goods to. Okay, so down here now we have our different products that were on here. So here's that polo. It says no colors and sizes have been defined at this point. So what we need to do is we need to come in here and we need to edit that polo. So the customers, basically, we presented some options to them, and they're coming back and saying, you know what, we want the white polo, and we're going to order 25 of each size. Okay, and then we can update that option. So that will update that information there, so you can see again it's coming in as a single line item for each of those sizes with the quantity. Now to edit this information, you edit a little bit different than the presentation. You can just simply click into the field and edit the information. So maybe this double XL we're going to sell, it costs us a little bit more, and we're going to mark that up a little bit. So we're going to say it's 27. And then we're tabbing through these fields. Now I also can change my gross margin for my product here as well. So I simply can come in here. By just changing the sale price, it adjusted the gross margin. But for instance, if I want to come in here and say, you know what, I want to make this 60% markup on the larges, I can tab through those fields and it will populate that and generate the new price to be that 60% gross margin. So you can see that it's gone up to 28. So we're not really making realistic edits here, but I just wanted to show you some of the functionality that is on the quote. Now you also have your embroidery setup and your embroidery run charge, okay, and the other related costs. So this was that miscellaneous that we had in there. Maybe that was the art charge. So if we want to make sure that we call it an art charge, we can key that in there so that our customer knows that if we break that out into the quote that's communicated to them. Okay, and we can also, we didn't put a cost there, but maybe it's going to cost us $10. And tab through to get it to save. Okay, so you can see that we've made some adjustments to the polo. Now if we want to adjust some of the description and the additional information that you saw on the quote, you need to branch this product out by clicking on the arrow, and you will see the image with the description, the imprint details, and so forth. So if you want to make any changes to that, this is where you do it. So you need to branch out this little arrow, and you can change your description. You also, for this particular supplier, we have live inventory. So at this point, if I wanted to check what that inventory is, I can do that by just clicking on Show Inventory, and I can see, okay, for the white polo, where is that available? So I can see that it's available in North Carolina, and this is the sizes that they have. Okay, we've got our imprint details. If I clicked on imprint colors, we have that, and we also have the method. So everything's put in there and we can branch back in. Now you can see that there's a separator line between the various products. So it already populates that. However, if you needed to separate the products, you could come up here and insert a line break. What that does is it keeps it nice and clean on your quote, and it allows you to put different imprint methods and decorations for the various products. So you also have this apothecary thing, and you have the soccer ball. So what we want to do is, we're not going to do the soccer ball, so we'll go ahead and delete that off our quote. And then now we have the candy, which is the apothecary jar with the candy. We have clear, and then we also have our screen print color and information. We don't necessarily need that line break at the end, so I'll just go ahead and delete that. And we might want to identify how many of those candy things we want. So they selected, maybe the customer came back and said they wanted 50 of those. So we'll tab through there just to make sure our changes are saved. And it will populate that. Our quantity for that. Looks like there's some data information issues there, but our quantity is not holding. Typically the quantity, there we go, should hold. Okay. Well, I see a little bug. I'll report that to our development team. So you would key in the quantity of that apothecary, and then it would populate that information there onto your quote. So just as we did in the presentation, if there are more products that you want to add to the quote, maybe they came back and they asked for a mug, you can come up to the clipboard. If that product's already on there, you can select the mug from the clipboard and add it to your quote. So I can just add that to the current quote. We'll add it to the bottom. So you can see now there's that mug. I can define the colors and sizes for that mug. Okay, so we've gone ahead and put our quantities in there. And we've got our mug. Now the same thing goes with the quote. You could find product. That will open up the product research window within the quote, just like we did with the presentation. Or you could add a new product onto your quote and also into your system. So you have those options there. You also have these tabs across the top to add in your embroidery and screen. So we saw those in the presentation, but they were just within the grid. On the quote, they're up there at the top. So just a different change in the screen, but you still have the same functionality. So when you're done and you've built your quote and you're happy with that quote, we can come over here again into Design View, view the PDF. Now the quotes are communicated by a default of table view, which is that line item format. However, if you want to include the picture with the virtual sample of the logo, you can click on Detail View. And that will provide some of the information that you saw in the presentation. So you can see the description. You can also see the product image. So it's just up to you how you want to communicate that quote to your customer. And then again, you have some information here that you can include or exclude on your quote along the left-hand side. So you can filter some of the pricing. The one thing I do want to show you is on the quote, you have that ability to exclude zero cell and text lines. What that means, if I come back to the edit area, is you have the ability to roll up the embroidery. So if I go ahead and roll this up into the price of the polo, by checking this box, it'll roll that up into the sell price, but you can see where it zeroes out that line item. So if I want to do the run charge as well. Now, if I come back to that design view for that quote, I'll wait for that quote to be built. There we go. So on this polo, we have what we can do now is we've got the different small, medium, and large, and we can roll up, we can exclude that zero line item in text line. So you're basically seeing that price in there. Now it looks a little bit better when you look at the table view. You can kind of see the difference in what. So right here, you no longer see that embroidery on the table view. You just see the art charge, which is what we did not roll up into price. But if I uncheck this, you'll see the embroidery set up, but it will be zeroed out. So you can roll up the price of the decoration into the price of the product. And when you do roll that up, if you exclude the zero line, it won't even include that into the quote that you're sending the customer. They're just going to see the total price of the polo shirt with that decoration method included. Completely up to you how you want to present it to the customer. And then just like the presentation, you can come over here to the next and you can send and share. So that's going to generate an email and it will attach that PDF of the quote, and you can send that out to your customer. So it generates that quote in PDF. And again, this is just like a general email. You can type what you like in the body of the email. You could change who you want it to go to. Again, this will populate if that customer's contact information was included in the customer record. So, and I'll cancel this out because we are working with test data, so we don't want to go ahead and send this quote. And then at the end of this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and save and close. And when I do save and close, it's going to pop me back to that project screen. You now can see the project. And you can see we had created a presentation, and then we copied that into a quote, and we made some adjustments onto that quote. So you can see those items there. And then you have various options from this point forward. We will have additional webinars, but basically you can come into that quote and edit that document. You can delete it. And then what we do on our next presentation, our webinar, is we're going to be talking about converting those quotes to sales orders and working with the actual order acknowledgement for the customer and how that works and how you can raise your purchase orders from that. So I do thank you very much for attending today's webinar on presentations and quotes. And at this time, I can take any questions if you might have any of those. Okay. Doesn't look like we have any questions. I have recorded this webinar, so I do welcome you to attend or maybe rewatch that at your convenience if you have any questions. And I look forward to seeing you on more of our webinars. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to attend.